The food that I eat is with chemical, grown by chemical. We eat it with chemicals, and the air we even breathe is with chemical. So how do you expect me to come from Africa and come here and remain the same when chemical is working in my body? So nobody should fake you that Africa, we don't have good life. Africa have good life, and Europeans, they know it. That's why most of the Europeans, when they go to Africa, they feel like they want to build a house in Africa and stay there forever. Why white people are going to Africa every time? If they tell you that Africa is, when Africans are living in Africa, they feel like, oh, Europe is not hot. I tell you, don't believe it. Africans, my fellow brothers and sisters who are living in Africa, Europe is more hot than Africa. Europe is more cold than Africa. The hotness of Europe is like hellfire. The coldness of Europe is like hellfire fridge. The fridge in the hellfire. I tell you. So the some of us, because I have the same mentality, that's why I don't want people to make the same mistake like me. I have the same mentality. When I was in Africa, people were telling me, oh, Europe is like this. There is no sun. Europe is between cold and hot. Well, all those things are bloody lie. And there are millions of Africans thinking like this, the same. And I want to make that thing awareness, to make it unknown to Africans that all those things are fake. Whatever they tell you about Europe. Europe is hot than Africa. But right now we are in summertime. We all know how we feel. Do you know how I'm feeling here? I feel like I'm in fire. So they don't have good life. When they are talking about education system and the regional levels to take Africans out, intelligent Africans, and giving them scholarship, when European Union is faking Africans by this, it is something that I don't understand. Okay. To implement the package, the EU and the AU mean the European Union and the African Union will leverage public funds to stimulate private investments by mobilizing innovation fencing instruments. They also aim to improve the business and investments climate by reforming governance, supporting African entrepreneurship. Of Europe, not Africa. But they put all in Africa. Everything is like they came to help Africa. You see, every agreement they sign with African Union here, all is dependent on Africa. We want this education system for Africa. We want good employment for African students. We want good health for Africa. We will do this. But nothing for Europe. They will never mention Europe. But everything they mention here, in the book or in the paper, is Africa written there. But in physical, what will be done? It will be done for Europe. Everything they mention here, the education, employment, the health sectors, the investments of business, helping the young peoples, it will all transfer for only Africa. For only Europe. But in the paper that African Union signed, in the paper that African Union read, in the paper that they put in Google, in the paper that they put in YouTube, in the news that they put in their news, in African news, it's like health for Africa, education for Africa, employment for Africa, everything Africa, 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 Africa. But in physical, they are doing it for themselves. So this is what African leaders are not understanding. When they send this paper to African leaders, the way I see this paper, agreement, African Union signed with European Union. And this paper, I tell you, I have some secret paper also. I want to bring it out. I will read it. This paper, everything here is written like Africa, Africa, Africa. So when African leaders see this, they feel like, oh, these people really want to help Africa. Everything is for Africa. Digital transformation for Africa. Green transaction for Africa. Energy transaction for Africa. Transportation for Africa. Suitable growth and decent job creation for Africa. When we come to health and education for Africa, these people love Africa. If you read this paper, you will feel like these people love Africa. But everything they write here, they put Africa, Africa, Africa. In paper, in physical, they remove Africa, they put Europe. Education for Europe. In physical, energy transaction will be for Europe. In physical, green transaction will be for Europe. In physical, digital transformation will be for Europe. In physical, a decent job creation will be for Europe. In physical, transportation will be for Europe. In physical, health and education will be for Europe, but not for Africa. Zero for Africa. They only fool Africans when European Union have meeting with African Union. Then I will ask European Union why, when they are having meeting to develop they are discussing about how to develop European countries, why they don't include African, why they don't call African Union. But they always want, when African Union is having meeting, to call them, to be there to know what Africans are planning about how to develop Africa, so that they will find a way to destroy it. African leaders are the most foolish leaders I have never seen in my life, in my entire life. You are your own territory, your enemy, people who make your forefathers a slave, people who torture your forefathers, people who make your fathers a slave, people who poison your forefathers, people who give injection, bad injection, HIV and AIDS injections, coronavirus injections, Ebola injections, to go to another injections, bad injections to your fathers, your forefathers, to make them blind, to make them die in bad poverty, in sickness. African leaders, you cannot see those. The same people are coming to you to have a meeting with you. And when you are trying to discuss about how to develop Africa, you have to involve your enemies to know what you are planning to develop your own continent. This is why Africa will never be developed. How can Africa be developed when our leaders are sitting and talking about the African development? They involve our enemies to be aware of what they are planning to develop Africa. If your enemy know what you are planning to do in your area, why wouldn't he destroy it? It will be easy for your enemy to destroy it. So this is why Africa is not going forward, because Europeans and Americans and Chinese, especially Europeans, they know whatever Africa plan, because European Union always is involved. European Union is always involved in African Union meeting. But African Union is never involved in European Union meeting when they have been meeting to discuss about how to develop European countries. Then what is the benefit of you, the African Union, in Africa? That's why I call it an European Union, the second European Union we have in Africa, and they call it African Union. If it is an African Union, what is white man doing there? Huh? If you go to European Union, do you see any black there? Huh? Then in African Union, why do we have white people there? This is African Union. It's a black man union. White should not be there. White man should not be there in African Union. Why do we have African Union? To discuss about Africa in secret, to discuss the development in secret, to put our things together in secret, to know what to plan about development of Africa and the prosperity and peace keeping of Africa, to maintain peace in Africa. In secret. But when we are calling our enemies to be aware of whatever we are planning to do to make Africa to go forward, and our enemies came back to their countries and sit and discuss how to destroy that plan we said in front of them. This is why Africa is always down, because they already know what we plan, but we don't know what they plan. They know what African Union plan, but African Union never know what European Union plan about Europe or about Africa. This is a big shame. A big, big shame. A big shame, my brothers and sisters. I will stop my live here, and I will say it before I stop my live. I will say thank you to everyone, and I will say my next live will be why Africa Africans don't put documents to Africa. I have 3 discussions on why Africa don't have their own languages. I bring this paper out today because it was some paper that I need to share with my fellow Africans to understand why are we in this bondage. Because these are the kind of thing that kind of agreements our leaders are doing in our back, and we don't even know. If you don't search for it, or you don't go into deeply in European Union's files, you will not see what is going on between Africa and Europe. You will not know what our leaders are putting us in. And these are things that our leaders are putting us in. And it's very painful for us to be there. They call us their own peoples, but we don't know what they plan. We always see them traveling from countries to countries. Greetings from Manchester. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much. God bless you. Don't mix. Thank you so much. I thank everyone for watching me, and I really appreciate it for you people taking your time and watching me, and it gives me much courage to do more and more for Africa and to stand for Africa, never to go back, never to fear, never to be afraid of anything. The only thing I'm afraid of, if I die, if Africa will be liberated still. If Africa will be liberated, then I'm not afraid to die. I'm ready to die in any minute, in any second for Africa, for fighting for Africa and standing for Africa. This is the only thing I could do for Africa for now. To stand for Africa and to make Africans be aware of whatever evil that these people plan for Africa and why we are in this bondage. We have to fight and see the end of this for us to be liberated. And I thank everyone for watching me. May God bless you all. May God give all of us long life. May God protect us from our enemies. May God give us prosperity. May God make everything in our brain and everything in our mind or in our dreams to become true. And may God make all our wishes to become fulfill. Whatever we wish in our lives, may God give us. May God make our life to be suitable for us. May God make us whatever we desire, whatever we want to have. May God make it available for everyone. May God make those who are living in Europe to be protected by from the enemies that we are in, because by living in your enemies it's not easy to be protected by your enemy, but God is always with us, and God will always protect us from our enemies with him. And may God give us long life and health. That is the most important thing. If you have long life and health, everything is okay. You can hustle, you can do everything, you can maintain your life again with good health and long life. So may God give us all, I thank you all for watching me. I thank you so much, and we listen to Master Nnamdi Kanu a little bit before we close the live, Everything is okay. Everything is alright, brother. Everything is okay. Everything is okay. It's okay. Everything is alright, brother. Everything is okay. Sei il bianco sbaglia, lo chiama fano eroe, nessun dritto per i neri, il dritto è solo per i bianchi, nessun dritto per i neri, il dritto è solo per i bianchi. Quanti negri hanno ammazzato, quanti negri hanno ammazzato, 2017 hanno ammazzato.